So I had a problem when I pulled the distributor out, and I was trying to do my TFI setup. And when I had pulled the distributor out, it actually pulled the oil pump. Let's see if we can get focused down in there. It actually pulled the oil pump shaft out of the oil pump. And so I was in a little bit of a panic because I couldn't get the distributor to sit back down there. It was sitting up, I don't know, fraction of an inch. And it was because the oil pump shaft wasn't seated properly. And I would try to put the oil pump shaft back in. I used this magnet, telescoping thing. And that wasn't doing it because it kept pulling it out. And so what I ended up doing was getting a 5/16 socket. The focus is way off today. There we go, 5/16 inch socket. And this, and basically put some grease on the end of the socket to act as a little bit of bubble gum or suction cup to it. And I dropped and I pushed it down in there and basically worked it with my hand until I felt it starting to seat, and I had to put a little bit of pressure on it. And when I did, that oil pump shaft seated properly. And you know it's seated properly because when you rotate it with your hand, you'll feel a little tension with that oil pump cranking. And then all of a sudden, oil came up into the distributor hole. And so this was covered in oil at that point. So I know that that's seated. Also, another way to know if it's seated or not is that shaft, you'll see it popped up almost flush with the bottom hole, the second hole that you see down there. And when it pushes down, it'll actually be, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch lower than the hole once it actually seats. So I should be able to put my distributor in at this point and have it seat properly. This is one of these weird things that you just won't find on the internet, no matter Googling, searching. I looked in every forum just to get clarity. You will not find anything on this, but just another little tip. If you're doing the TFI relocate, I put this little tab on here to hold the wires, but one lesson I learned is put some relief wiring in here, and probably even more than what I did, so that when you move the wire here, you'll notice that the plugs aren't moving at all. There's like zero movement here. So I'm able to really move this distributor around at this point and not have any play in these wires. So just another tip, those that are following along and trying to figure out the whole TFI setup. So now what we're gonna do is drop this distributor back in there and we should be good to go.